Throughout the length and breadth of America, thousands of sportsmen reenact this of times each year. To the man who loves the feel and the lines of a good gun, the brisk tap of the autumn air and the feel of good rough earth under his feet, this scene should have approximately the same effect as the sharp smell of smoke assailing the nostrils of an old fire horse. The familiar sight of these men in their hunting clothes loading up the old trailer is a vivid invitation that few sportsmen can turn down. We might be heading for the Missouri Ozarks, the Tennessee Smokies, or the silent forests of Maine. Or we might be headed north for the rugged beauty of neighboring Canada, as these men are. You might as well know these fellows by their first names on this trip. These two are Ernie and Frank, who rate only a perfunctory farewell. Old Parm, however, seems to know the lady better, and probably won't wash his face for days. Parm is more fully known as Claude Parmalee, and is responsible for most of the photography on this trip. Well, they're off. Quickly leaving the little town of Iron Mountain in upper Michigan, they soon are on the open road, rolling along merrily and eagerly drinking in the glories of nature's colorful autumn dress. Mile and mile of concrete ribbon unfolds beneath their flying wheels as they follow the compass northward. After passing the Canadian border, they pause to stretch their legs. Most of us take the 4,000-feet unfortified border for forgetting that it is an outstanding example of what mutual trust and friendship between nations can accomplish. Lake of the Woods is our next stop, and as we get underway, we salute the flag of our good neighbor. The last stage of the trip is by motorboat across the Lake of the Woods, one of the most beautiful bodies of water in northern Canada. As they glide into the dock at Berry Lodge, Ernie, Frank, and old Parm are greeted by Mr. and Mrs. Art Vick. One of the pleasant things about any hunting trip is the chance it gives to renew old friendships. The boys have used Berry Lodge as a base camp on previous expeditions, and they know the warm hospitality and comfort that awaits them. It's only a short walk from the dock to the lodge, where another welcome awaits them from the younger member of the Vick family. Naturally, the conversation turns to hunting, but Mrs. Vick says, "Soup's on, and there'll be no more talk of hunting until after lunch." Then they hunt up Jack Cowley, the famed Cree Indian guide of Whitefish Bay, glad to see the boys. In addition to a substantial fee for his excellent services, he is highly pleased to get those tailor-mades with which these city-bred sportsmen are always liberally stocked. Jack knows these northern woods like a book and has a spot in mind for them. Before long, the parade to the boat begins. It's amazing the amount of stuff you have to take along, but when you're going to be away from civilization for days, a lot of things are necessary for your safety and comfort. Old Faithful, the movie camera, is always ready to keep an interesting record of this hunting trip. A good dog is a good companion, and Monty, the Walker Hound, is going along just for the ride. He won't have any cripples to trail. These fellows are using Silvertips. The fellows load up just in case something strays near the camp. Up in this wild country, it pays to be prepared for any emergencies. Those are the new 348 Silvertips they're putting into their Model 71 Winchesters. And that, gentlemen, is an ideal combination for heavy game. Even our canine friend recognizes a reliable. How about a bird for dinner? Wily old Jack can catch grouse with his bare hands, Indian fashion. At least so the story goes. Old Parm, however, relies on his Model 12 Winchester. Game is the thing up here in these northern woods, and Parm is equipped to have a go at anything. He loads up and sets forth. Easy now, Parm, easy. Sure finger, no hasty, careless shooting. There you are, fire away. Oh, good shot, boy, good shot. Now, you don't mean to say that you can't find it. Here it is, right over here. Well, that's better. You had us scared for a minute. Don't forget that's the start of our dinner. And so it goes throughout the afternoon. That's a nice haul you've got there. We'll eat hearty tonight. This is a good example of experience and good judgment. That's a fine bag, brought down by a careful, competent hunter using good equipment. There's a time and place for everything. For oysters, Rockefeller at Antoine's, for lobster a la Newburgh at Waldorf, steak and kidney pie at the old Cheshire Cheese. Yes, a time and a place for everything. But breathes there a man with an appetite who wouldn't go for a camp supper like this? Mm-mm. And don't think the wild creatures of the big woods don't know when it's dinner time. Look at this beautifully coated little fellow go after his camp dinner. And so life goes on at Camp Winchester. It isn't all play. There are chores to be done. The experienced outdoorsman will always see to it that his camp is in order before setting out on the hunt. Ernie and Frank and old Parm police their camp thoroughly. And with the chores behind them, the boys set forth, their minds on fresh venison. Out in the field, our hunters stalk their prey, just as for thousands of years man has tracked down his game, trying to maneuver the animal into a spot of vantage where a well-placed shot will bring him down. A beautiful doe soon comes into view, a perfect target and one at which an over-eager novice might excitedly fire. The experienced man knows automatically, however, that a much bigger prize is probably in the neighborhood, and the boys become exceedingly cautious, anticipating the buck they feel certain is nearby. Suddenly they sight him, a magnificent fellow with rocking chair antlers. He's working through a clearing in the forest. To the old-timer who has seated himself on a stump, this is a familiar situation. He knows the exact range to all parts of the clearing. As the buck enters, the old-timer raises his Winchester, sights quickly, and gently squeezes the trigger. Jack, the Indian guide, has a favorite expression, Silvertip, she say socko, and socko she did on this splendid specimen. It's a clean kill. That fine head will make a wonderful trophy, and the camp bill of fare will now list venison. Here in Canada, Mother Nature is at her untamed best. The country is magnificently beautiful. For several days, Jack has been promising the boys a thrill, and today, he said, now we go for to hunt the moose back into Big Bush, and we find ourselves high up on the rim rock, with the going getting rougher every hour. Time out for a rest. We can see that Jack is still working on those tailor-mades the boys brought along. Watch the match. He makes sure it's dead before he tosses it away. Off we go again, and soon are rewarded by the sight of a track. Jack, you and I can read a book, and he hastens on with Parm following in high expectation. Suddenly they sight a big bull at the water's edge. They creep forward silently. Up comes that Model 71 Winchester, and again the quick but confident squeeze of the trigger. Again, socko. A single shot drops the game, and wise old Jack the guide again pays tribute to the power and effectiveness of Silvertip, its great killing wallop, and its ability to do the job with one clean, well-aimed shot. Here is a kill to shake hands over. Here is another fine trophy, but the party is not over. The moose must be skinned, quartered, and moved to camp. And Jack, always efficient, believes in a razor-sharp edge. It's an old story to him. He makes a quick, clean job of it with a keen blade and the swift, sure strokes born of long experience. With a trophy such as this, it's no trouble to load the boat, no matter how tired you are. These fellows really have a boatload to be proud of. And so as the shadows lengthen over beautiful, we leave our hunters to their triumphant trip back to camp. Leave them with a salute to old Parm for the bead he draws, a salute to Jack and his nose game, and a salute to Silvertip for Silvertip, she say, socko.